So you're welcome to this 15th day of March, the Seed Grant Information Webinar. And I am your Community Development Grants Manager, and I'll be taking you through the fundamentals that you need to work on into the seed grant as you prepare for the April application cycle. A number of us have asked questions before, and you have asked whether you could have the links shared so that you're able to submit the application now. I will be responding to a number of those questions coming up as we go along with this conversation. Have your questions typed up in the process of this conversation. Send it through as we talk. Don't forget to take notes as much as you can to avoid forgetting to ask questions. So I'll be glad to answer as many questions as possible, and I'll try to create time for the Q&A so that we're able to respond to critical questions that will be coming from you. And I will be glad to give specific responses to each and every question that you will be having, as long as it brings a lot of understanding between you and the application and the program itself. And so long as it will create success in your preparation, we will be glad to do that right away. So I want to be sure that all of us who have joined the webinar today, you are aware that the information webinar is strictly in response and giving information regarding the seed grant, not growth grant. Even when we talk about growth grant summarily in this conversation, we will not be focusing more on the growth grant, but rather specifically handling the seed grant information. So that I want to be very clear, and we'll be running through as we go along. So what is the Community Development Grants Program meant for? The program is actually designed and meant for you who are in good standing, a WMI scholar who is in good standing, not having any running report, not having any queries or sanctions with the Judicial Review Committee or with the GAB, or you are not a student scholar yet to complete in so many years to come. Here I'm talking about the good standing, those who are not having pending questions. So our agenda in this webinar will be covering the introduction of the program. We'll be diving into the purposes of this webinar and looking into the information that you need to know as you prepare for the April application cycle, and learning opportunity on how to start and when to qualify for the CDG seed grant. We'll also talk about the program background. We'll talk about the eligibility requirements and how to apply for the grant, the timeline of our applications, and we'll also be looking at a brief about the reporting activities. However, much more will be covered when you're really applying, when you have applied for. The reporting activities will be required when your application has been approved. So much more of it will be covered during the pre-funding calls once your application is successful. Then lastly, we will be tackling the questions and answer sessions. So put your pen and notebook together. Make sure you are scribing those questions and having them ready for me. So what is Community Development Grants Program? When did it start? How many so far has benefited? So the program actually was open and exclusively designed for you, the scholars of WMI, meaning we do not give grants to any other person who is not a WMI scholar. And often I receive emails and concerns if they could apply on behalf of the organization, and scholars who are intending to do so. And if you're not going to participate in it, then your application becomes ineligible. So therefore, you cannot waste your time to do so. The program is an opportunity for you, the WMI scholar who is getting out of the university or out in the community there, you have completed the university, to help you create or start or expand your business or initiative that you have created. It might be in healthcare, it might be in education, might be in environment, might be in women's economic, might be in women's right or children's rights. It might be advocacy for domestic violence. So all these categories of programs or sections or sectors are all eligible. And we know that WMI has a diverse professionals, and this can cut across all the professions. So WMI is open to the graduates. And if you're not a graduate or a graduate scholar of WMI, as I spoke about before, you are not able to qualify for our grants. And therefore, you need to be a graduate scholar or a scholar completing the school by June 30th, 2025. So you start to grade yourself, right? By the time I finish this conversion, you would have known where you belong. We believe as WMI that the community challenges are best solved by the locals, and therefore our scholars are the best positioned to draft and craft the community solutions facing the problems that surrounds their community. So that is why this program is developed. And the program has got 3 cycles. We have 2 cycles for seed grant in April and October, then 1 cycle for growth grant, which is in September. I hope that is clear for those intending for the growth grant. You have to wait until September. But if you want seed grant, it's happening very, very soon. In a 2 weeks' time, the application will be open. So our grant categories has got 2. As I mentioned, we have seed grant and growth grant. And seed grant, what is it about? Why is it actually, first of all, even a seed grant? Is to help you start the process. And if you demonstrate that you are able to utilize our one-time grant of 100 to 1,000 US dollars, then we will trust you with additional funds that will now come when we analyze your project and we see that you may be eligible for our growth grant program. So the seed grant program is to help you still significantly expand your business, your community-based organization, or you are organizing community event or service event. I want to mark the difference here. The community service project, which is organized by scholars, others mix up this. We have fellowship community fellowship grants, which is not part of the CDG seed, so you don't apply for the fellowship grant here. So seed grant will help you do that. Then the growth grant will help you grow, and because it's growth, we want to look at your existing facility, your existing initiative, the business that you're running that was funded by the seed grant, and we're looking at the continuity and the success of that business. Perhaps the clientele has grown and you need to improve or increase or add another service into the initiative. Here is opportunity that we give you up to 5,000 US dollars so that you are able to expand or significantly grow that initiative. And we don't leave it at that. We go through the strategic advisory support that comes along with that by giving you attention to details on your proposal, attention to details as you implement, and follow-ups, regular follow-ups with you to ensure that you are succeeding, your project is flourishing, the community is, your community is enjoying, and you're creating jobs for others, and this comes with the growth grant effect. So what are our impact since 2015 when the program was launched? The program was launched in 2015, and to date, we have seen over 145 scholars receiving seed grant and growth grant awards, totaling into amount of over 176,000 US dollars, and therefore the impact is huge. And when you equate the impact of what the dollars which has gone out, you find that the total beneficiaries are in over 145,000 45,000 community members benefiting from the Community Development Grants Program. And this program currently is running in 20 countries. You can count your countries. 20 countries. We know that right now, WMI operates in 55 countries. And out of the 55 countries, 20 countries now are benefiting from the Community Development Grants Program. The 21st or 22nd, 23rd, 25th, 24th country to come aboard may be your next country if you have not, or your country has never applied for the Community Development Grants Program. Let's talk about the seed grant specifically, because we want to look at the eligibility. Who is eligible and when do you become eligible? So as I said, it's a one-time grant that gives you up to $1,000. Then it is accurate to help you start something. We don't want the issue of what next after the university. What next after the university? WMI is answering it now. As you complete your studies by June 30th this year, you can come out by July 15th. You are being engaged in another activity within your community. You're being engaged in running your own initiative. And this is why seed grants become very much important to you as a university student coming out in June, and as a graduate scholar who is still looking for a job, or as a graduate scholar who wants to cause an impact. This is an opportunity for you. Who is eligible to apply? As I said, a WMI graduate scholar in a good standing. A graduate scholar must have completed the most recent WMI graduate scholar annual survey, which in this case is for 2024. If you did not submit the annual survey for last year and you're a graduate scholar, then you're in jeopardy of yourself. Shouldn't have any case running under judicial review or under scholar review board, whether in terms of mismanagement of grants or you have not submitted or your academic documents were fraudulent and it is being reviewed. So if you are in that category, you do not qualify. If you're a current student, student scholar whose final exams are still beyond June 30th, then you are not eligible. If you're having a running seed grant or a running growth grant currently running through up to June, July, you are not eligible. But if you have completed your seed grant and you want to apply for another seed grant and all your reports were submitted, then you are eligible. You become a WMI graduate scholar in good standing. Now, grant proposal eligibility, and I want it to be very clear to us. Seed grant proposal must be directly related to your graduate scholar area of study. If you have studied medicine, try to build the project within the medical areas. If you have done social science, try to work around that. If you have done ICT, you have done international relations, try to build your project proposal coiling around your profession, because you want to grow your profession. It is what motivated you to go to the university and want to use that opportunity for you to elevate your level and try to implement what you have learned because it was your passion while joining the university. However, we are not locked up there. We can accept if you're organizing or starting a CBO. CBOs may not be in you're a medical student, you consider on a CBO, NGO, a business, and whatsoever. But we are trying to say, okay, you're a graduate scholar who is medical related, try to build something around the medicine. There are several. You will ask me in a one-on-one conversation, then I will tell you plenty of opportunities, plenty of projects, ideas that a medical student or a medical scholar can run, as opposed to even going into doing maybe general merchandise going into piggeries and so forth as a medical scholar. That wouldn't help you much. So eligible applicants are required to be in their own nations. So if you are not in your nation, and you are not taking loan in another country where you are currently living, you are not eligible, and your proposal will not be approved. Proposal should be implemented in area where you are going to live for more than 12 months from the time of approving your proposal, and should also be in your location where you're going to live. You cannot be in northern Liberia and you want to implement a project in southern Liberia. You are living in northern and you're trying to implement project in southern. That also will not be applicable. Develop a project within northern Liberia, you will have it there. The proposal should be implemented and managed by the graduate scholar. I've talked about this slightly a while ago, that you cannot apply on behalf of somebody and then you're not being directly involved in the project implementation. So for your proposal to be eligible, we want to see the component of your involvement, direct involvement into the project implementation. And if you're not involved, then we will not be guaranteed of the WMI fund stewardship into another person's hand. And yet it is intended to the graduate scholar, not the third party. Third parties may benefit, but if you are the main person in the implementation process of that program, you are required to implement in your local community where you live or currently work. So if you're working in a community, then you can continue. You can implement a project there with ease. If you're not working there, you can implement where you live, at your home base, where you're currently staying. Only graduate scholars who have done, and I want this very clear, if you're thinking about veterinary or animal-related projects, if you're thinking about piggery, if you're thinking about rearing birds, chicken rearing, if you're thinking about rearing goats, you're thinking about rearing Frisian cows, and you're not from the veterinary or animal science field, then your proposal will not be accepted because of the previous and past experiences from other scholars who have implemented projects in line with this. So try to look around. We don't stop, but we are saying we cannot fund from the experience we have had as WMI Grants Program Department, where many projects of that nature did not succeed. And therefore, we limit that to those who have done veterinary science or animal science in that respect. So, and then also your proposal cannot be approved when you are already having a running seed grant or growth grant, and therefore, if you fall into this category, then just be patient. First, finish what you have, do the reporting, then be eligible for the next application cycle. What have we covered so far? We have done a lot. We have talked in a couple of minutes, and we have done an introduction to the Community Development Grants Program, and I'm sure you have got the information pretty clear. You now know that there are two programs that WMI grants awards, which is seed and growth. You have understood that for the seed grant that you're listening to right now, we only give up to the maximum of 1,000, meaning your budget can be slightly above, but you're asking for 1,000. We have talked about the general eligibility requirements as a WMI scholar in my previous communication. And then we have also talked about the requirements relating to the proposed grant idea, what you need to have. And now let's dive into the next planning timeline and application timeline that we have. Well, while you've been waiting for all this moment to understand and see when is the seed grant application opening, it is opening so soon and very, very soon. In 2 weeks' time, you will have this open. It is a requirement that you attend this webinar first. And that's the reason why this webinar is being called the Seed Grant Info Webinar, is to disseminate basically information in regards to the application timeline and eligibility. So if you do not attend, if your neighbor did not attend, let your neighbor not complain for not being proceeded to the next level of application review, because he or she wouldn't have attended this webinar and submitted the annual Graded Scholar Annual Survey of 2024. Only when we are in the application period, then you can apply. Several people want to submit applications earlier than the application cycle. We do not receive unshortlisted applications. If you want to have a conversation with community development grant staff, you can ask. We can have side talk, discussion, and consultation. But in that process, the application is not being reviewed for funding. It is being reviewed for technical guidance and assistance. Applications are accepted twice in a year. For this next cycle, it is going to open on 1st of April and will be closing by 16th. That will be a Wednesday. 16th April, midnight, that is EST. And for those living in East Africa, that will be around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Those in Rwanda will be around 6 or 7 in the morning. Those in Malawi might be around 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. So depending on where you're coming from, your time zone, make sure the deadline will be 16th April, midnight, Eastern Standard Time. Then the next application cycle will be in October and will run from October 1st to October 15th. Is it a guarantee that if you have attended this Seed Grant Info webinar for April, can it guarantee me to apply for the next application cycle? The answer is no. If you're having such a question, the answer is no, because the next application cycle will have its own info webinar coming up in September. Specific dates related to the planning timeline, you can find them in our website, and a lot will be displayed for you. I will be sending out a lot of information now moving forward regarding the application timeline. When do you expect to hear your feedback for round 1, round 2, round 3, until pre-funding call? All that is available on this Community Development Grants webpage, but also I will be sending it out to you via email. What should you be doing right now as you are tuned to this webinar? You should be now confirming your eligibility as you're listening to me. Am I eligible? Do I meet criteria A, B, C, D? What am I missing out? Can I be helped? If I miss out this, what possibility do I have to get the opportunity to apply for this? You have to be thinking about the proposal idea. You still have 2 weeks to the application opening, and you can have this time to consult, brainstorm, try to do a research, do feasibility studies within your community need assessment to ascertain what you want to achieve. When you look around your community, you will find a lot of challenges that you need to address. Honestly, even where you are seated right now, whether you find it very comfortable, the ambience is good, everything looks pretty fine. But when you start to look forward, you realize that there is a lot of needs that needs to be addressed within your community. You should be having the confirmation that your grant proposal idea is actually eligible for funding. And so if the idea is, if you feel or you realize that your idea might not be eligible, it's not a bad deal for you to tap into me and ask whether your proposal idea is actually eligible for the funding. When is the application opening? Is there. Our round one application process includes, but not limited to, one. Step number one, determining the application eligibility as a WMI graduate scholar, confirming your proposal idea meets the requirements which I've talked about. Then three, prepare your round one application. And your round one application, as I said, includes the written proposal. You might have submitted your written proposal to me for review or to be reviewed, but not using the WMI standardized template. That the application. So make sure your written proposal is aligned with the WMI proposal template. And we have three different proposal templates. We'll be talking about that. Then we have a planning timeline. Make sure the planning timeline is comprehensively completed. Our planning timeline template has got an example in tab 2. Try to utilize it so that you don't mess up while you're filling, but try to avoid copying and pasting because you will disorganize it. Budget template, you will be having a revised budget template and must be WMI budget template, not anywhere, not any other, and should be an updated budget template. Don't pick the budget template that you received last year to be used in this year's application because it will not be the one we are looking at. And perhaps it may be one of the reasons for your denial because you have not followed the instruction. Then there will be official application form, which will be sent to you. The Google link will be sent to you for submission. While you do the written proposal, be sure that the online application will be received, and we will not accept email proposal submission because it will not be reviewed. That only comes for casual review and personal, but when it comes to the application process, you use the Google form being sent. You will also should be now doing the additional supporting documents, trying to obtain the NGO letter or registration or official letter, if any, or in-kind support, if any. If you do not have any in-kind support, then do not bother. But if you have, and you have quoted it in your budget, make sure you're having a written letter in that support or a confirmation to that effect, but not verbal confirmation. Then letter of partnerships, if any, official business plan, if any, annual work plan, if any, in addition to our planning timeline. So try to make sure you're having that ready prior to the submission. But remember, the last step, step 4, is the submission of your application. And I've already talked about the deadline is Wednesday, April 15th, 2025 at midnight or 12 a.m. EST. So make sure you are within that timeline. We have application resources available for you for use. One, you have the written proposal template. I mentioned that we have 3, and the 3 written proposal guidelines that we have, one of them is CBO NGO group creation. It has detailed notes on how to utilize it. But if you have a challenge, you can always consult. We have a business or income generating proposal template, and it is also there for you to go through it, and it has a lot of guidelines. Try to read through. Then we have one-time event or project proposal, and that is also there, and it has its own guidelines and written notes that will guide you on a one-on-one. All these are available on our webpage and can be downloaded, and if you're not sure, you can write to me or you can ask me. We also have SMART goal notes. We have a lot of materials on our webpage, and all this and more are all provided for your support. If you're not sure, you can always ask me. You can write to me, seeking opportunity opportunity to have a chat with me, I'll always be pleased to jump into a Zoom call or schedule a meeting with you to understand your needs. So, as I said in our written proposal, we have those and you need to try to follow them. If you're in doubt, write to me. You have the idea, you're not sure whether your idea is a one-time event or it's going to turn out as a business or an income generating, write to me. You're not sure whether what you're trying to do will fall under NGO, CBO group creation, drop a mail to me so that we don't waste time. The moment you waste time, you use a wrong template, you save my time of the review, you save the grants committee time of the review, and you lose your time because you would have spent a lot of time and missing it out at the end of it all, just because you have used a wrong template. Now, let's prepare for the success. Everybody talks about success, but the true definition of success is when preparation meets the opportunity. When preparation meets the opportunity, you hit the success button. And this preparation is here. You need to work on them. It is like looking for a job, looking for opportunities elsewhere. You need to put time, you need to put your best, you need to do research, you need to build it up and making sure you're submitting a fine product so that you attract an employer or a donor or a supporter. Create into your mind that these reviewers are not from your community, they are not from your country, and they do not understand or know what you assume they know in your community. Even when you assume some of the reviewers comes from within your region, don't assume that they know so much about your community, your local community where you come from and where the project will be implemented. So bring to perspective, relate your project into your profession and professional background, areas of studies. 2, implement and manage the project as a graduate scholar, not for somebody. Implement in your local community. If you don't, as I said, it will not work. And make sure you're living and working closely to ensure the success of that project within your community. Receive support from local partners, try to influence, talk to them, make sure they're involved in your ideas, make sure the partners are giving you support that you're trying to look at. There are several opportunities for you there. If they're there, it beefs up the decision making in your proposal. But it's not a guarantee. We are not saying that the more partners you have, when we are not sure they are going to support, will automatically guarantee that we give you the funding. No. Well, you may have one, you may not have even one. It's rather to be as honest as possible, as opposed to being deceptive by showing that you have so many partners, which partners are not anywhere closer to offering the support. You verbally talked to Bonnie Mark, and Bonnie Mark sluggishly talked to you about, there could be a possibility, I may support you, if everything goes on well. Then you goes into the moon and start to think, Bonnie Mark has already offered me support. No, it's just a verbal communication. It's not a confirmed commitment. It is still subject to decision change. So do not take that as a proof of support. Further the conversation. Somebody makes a commitment before you put them into your proposal. Wow. Having done that and prepared enough for it, we need to also prepare for the application success, because you are preparing for success and everything is around the success of your application and your proposal and your initiative and the impact that will be created. So while you prepare so well the application processes, try to get into the CDG webpage if you want to get more information there. Familiar with the system and try to appreciate the templates. Review those templates, download the templates and work within the confines of the template. It has very comprehensive information that will be good enough to make you hit success button while applying for the community development grants. Take the time to read the tips for writing a successful proposal. It is on our webpage, and I will be sharing it out with you, but also including a lot of notes or manuals regarding detailed planning, local community involvement, measuring your outcomes, encouraging sustainability, will be some of the topics that we are covering this year again in our learning series will be starting with sustainability of your project. But that's also a material you can find on the webpage, and you will be, having that opportunity to read extensively. Use and always try to make sure your direct involvement is seen in the application process, what role you will be playing in the implementation, what are you going to do, who is going to support you, whom are you going to work with, how are you going to succeed, make sure the project succeeds, how are you going to get others involved, because you're the main person, you're the key and pivotal person in that area. Ask me, ask anybody else who have done CDG application, those who have done successfully well and their initiatives are flourishing. Ask them, how did they do it? Ask their names. I cannot mention them all here. Like the Source Peters who have done amazing job in Tanzania. Like the Dr. Catherine Nagadia, who is doing amazing job in Uganda with the Girls Unstoppable. Like Isabella with our project. Those in Kenya, like Winnie, who is doing amazing with our farming business. Stelia, I'm doing amazing work in Malawi. Dr. Katrina in Malawi doing great job. So try to engage with those scholars who have successfully received awards and they're doing amazing things. You will have the insights, and of course, will make you succeed in your application. So if you don't ask questions and you think you become an island that you know it all, AI will not solve your problems. Consultation with those who have gone through will solve your problems. So the application process beyond round one submission, and this full with details, date are available on our webpage. And I want to just run quickly through some of them because I'm not going to jump into all. But quickly, you need to know that round one is reviewed and you are given a feedback within a certain period of time. And the written feedback is given to you via email. And once you receive that, we expect you to work on those and submit. Then we schedule a coaching call with you after giving you the feedback to strategize on how you can improve your proposal and also answer questions where you have not understood in the feedback. So you are allowed to review your application, revise it, and submit it with the supporting document. So round two, we expect you to submit a revised application, and at that point you can either be denied completely or deferred. After that, we'll do award announcement, completing the award agreements and sending of funds forms. Then we'll host a pre-funding call. We introduce you to M&E matrix and other surveys and monthly reportings, quarterly reportings, and annual reporting. Then we do send you money to start your implementation. Then we start following you up on a monthly basis to ensure that you are reporting on all the activities that is taking place within your program. Then we jump into a call with you to check in, to see how everything is going, sending photos. We receive photos and videos from you. Working hard is to succeed. And so, if you work hard, success is inevitable. You work smart, you work clean, you don't forge, you don't be deceptive, I'm sure you can hit a milestone. So, once that is done, we have given you all that, you will take the responsibility now to do the following. One, providing the monthly reporting. And the monthly reporting, we only ask two things. The expense or the financial reporting, which includes the expense and revenue trackers. Then we also ask you to provide receipts And then the M&E matrix to be also filled in on a monthly basis. Then we ask you a 3-month report. We ask you 6-month, 9-month, and 12-month reports. We do financial analysis. We do check-in calls where we find that the project is failing or trying to eat a snag. We jump into a call and say, hey, this is not going on well. Before you hit a dead end, let's do this. So we have that opportunity. And then your responsibility also is to send us photo updates and videos, video clips as you are implementing your project. And we use those to showcase your success, like the pictures you have been seeing through from your fellow scholars. And amazingly, we use them to showcase, to motivate other scholars, but also tell the world how you are impacting your community. So next step after this, I'll be sending you an email possibly next week with this webinar recording and other slides and the materials that you will be using as you begin to prepare for your next application cycle. And also encourage you to review the community development webpage as you wait for these materials to be sent via your email. Then you can, at your opportune time, as you wait, you can be writing to me, asking questions, and I will be glad to be responding to some of your ideas and saving your time from, wasting a lot of time in your preparation. And then remember, April 1st to April 16th, midnight is the time for you to make the submission. We have talked about the seed grant. If you have questions, drop them there. But if you don't have questions, I will briefly introduce the growth grant to you, and we'll be wrapping up this session. So while you do all this, and as you're planning to do the application process right now, think about the future of your initiative. Having got the seed grant and you have implemented it so well, you have opportunity for growth grant, and you will get into this and be given 5,000 to improve and get more insight support beyond just monetary funds. Now, if your application is approved, you will use it for investing in your business or a new system in your business, increasing your staffing in your organization, putting up an initiative, or funding, making a matching grant for greater opportunities to grow and elevate your business. And then for you to have that, I've already talked about the eligibility must be successful seed grant awardee who is stepping forward to the next level of either initiative or business or community development organization. For more information, you can reach out to our seed grant page, and you will read all the materials that you need. But the materials that you need with all your best are the materials I've listed here. The strategies for successful application, the Arnolds is there on the webpage. SMART goals and SMART objectives, the notes are there. Written proposals, the 3 written proposal guidelines are there. Planning timeline templates are there with examples. Budget templates are there with examples. The application form template is there. The PDF copy where you can print and try to understand what you will, because it will not be any different from when you now begin to make the submission. So make sure you're looking into that. And if you're not sure how to reach the web page, because I know navigating our page apparently is difficult for most scholars, you can only copy that link. It will take you straight to a specific program under community development program. Seed grant goes straight. Growth grant will take you straight. So you have the opportunity there, and the links are there for you to reach out. If you're in doubt, you have my contacts there, both emails and WhatsApp. You can drop me any queries or concerns via WhatsApp or email in that address in front of you. So now, if you have any question, I'll take, because it is your time to ask them. And I will begin by looking into the chat room and seeing the Q&A. An anonymous written, last time I didn't get the notification of open opportunity, open applications. How do I ensure I don't miss this call? How do you ensure you don't miss this call? We will run a email blast for all who have attended this webinar. Remember, only and only those who have attended this webinar will receive the email notification that the application is now live. So if you have not received this, perhaps you did not attend the info webinar. So make sure, for those who have similar complaint, I'm sure it must have come as a result of not attending the webinar. When do we get the full results? The awardees list of the seed grant asking for planning purposes. The award will be coming up in June. So if you're planning an activity, you will have to plan the activities that will start around mid-July, because that is when the funds will be sent if your application is successful. Do we run a list? We award the individuals who have gone through, because not everybody we filter, then we get the individuals notified and they know always. So, but try to look into the planning timeline on the WMI Community Development Grants webpage, and you will see when do you expect the announcements? When do you expect the funds to be sent to you? All are available on our planning timeline. If I have 2 startups running simultaneously, can I apply for the seed funding for the 2 of them separately? You can only apply for 1 seed grant at a time. As I mentioned in my previous communication, you can only get 1 seed grant up to 1,000. So you may have to separate or pick one of your most favorite and most impactful startups, then you will concentrate there. So another question which might be a little logical here is, Joseph, why should you have 2 startups running simultaneously and not yet very strong and successful, while as opposed to having one coming up above the other and the other one growing as a subsidiary to this other one? Why? So if you can answer that question, I think could be a good opportunity for us to where to begin from, because we need to work into understanding those areas where those questions, I mean, because you can't run the 2 concurrently. So I'll stop sharing and continue to focus on your question now. So why should I not receive 2 grants at the same time? The question is, by policy you can only receive 1. Why? What if I have CBO not in discipline, I am qualified for? A CBO can be created by anybody. And you can look into the objectives of the CBO. We'll be looking at your CBO as the boss of the CBO and funding the activity. But make sure the activity you're funding may not be animal related, as I said before, because it will have some impact in your application review. Yeah. So make sure you're cognizant of that fact and do not miss the opportunity to have your startup or your program strictly dedicated to what is meant to meet the CBO objectives, but not aligning with the animal-related products if you are not in that field, because you will not have the technical know-how to implement that. Stephen, hi. How do we know what we are eligible through this webinar? Or is there any attendance taken? Yes, attendance is taken in this webinar. I'm very pretty sure that at the end of this webinar, I will have those who have attended for more than 30 minutes being provided for. Those who have just logged in and logged out being also availed to me. And so one of the eligibility is that, yes, you have attended the webinar by showing up for 5 minutes, but you didn't get the information. So you're as good as somebody who has not attended this webinar. We are not here to show up and show off. We are here to show in, listen, learn, and take home. What else? Question. Complete. Well, let me go to the chat room. What have I missed out? Have I missed out? I think I've answered all the chat Q&A there. So, I am learning. I'm learning, though I will only be eligible for October seed grant. I can't wait. That's okay. To whom do we confirm eligibility criteria? Write to this Community Development Grants Manager, myself. You will have the answers. If you're not sure whether you submitted your annual survey report for 2024, write to me. I will give you a feedback. If you're not sure whether your ideas meet the eligibility, write to me. I'll give you feedback. Good evening. I am Akello Ariet. Yes, I am very glad to be in attendance. Thank you. Victoria, you ask. I received your emails. So, good afternoon. I am happy to attend this. Good. Are you now eligible to receive the links in April? So watch out for my email. Thank you. Thank you, dear CDG manager, for this beautiful time. I'm ready to apply for October 2025 cycle. We have plenty of time to do this. We still have classes to complete. Yes, all the best. This is why you're here. Thank you all. I do not see any other question, but if there is any, you can still drop it to me directly, and I will be glad to respond to them. I'd like to thank you all of you who have attended this webinar and interested in applying for the program this April. Looking forward to reviewing your application and wishing you the very best of the holiday. Another question is coming. Patrick, great presentation, Bonnie. For curiosity's sake, how would you rate the implementation of different projects by different scholars? This can be an encouragement to everyone struggling on grant implementation. Patrick, I will not rate individually. I tried to single out a few most successful projects that I have ever reviewed, seen, visited, and looked at what they are doing within the community. Majority of the awardees are doing well. They're doing great. We can only tell by the confirmation that they give their photos, the videos, and the testimonies we get from their beneficiaries. So that subject of getting the video clips from the individual beneficiaries gives us the hope. And we know that this project is doing well by how somebody is regularly updating the tracker, providing the information, because a project which is flourishing, everybody wants to show up to be known that their project is actually succeeding and meeting the goal. A struggling project is seen by delays of how they submit their report and giving so many reasons why they are not able to give the report. So it is not something cast in stone, we know. And just to encourage you, there are a number of scholars. Perhaps I will be doing spotlights for some of the scholars. But if you go to the CDG webpage, you will find the spotlights. Some of the amazing scholars who have done well, we have put them on the spotlight to see, for other scholars to see that this and so are doing a great job. And you can always look to them for any help. But we shall be running some of this on our social media platforms to see that you who are implementing or intending to implement, you also see yourself as one of those who have successfully or is succeeding in this or our implementation of the program. Good afternoon, Bonnie. I am happy to attend this session, but the materials being taught will be, okay, will the materials being taught sent to us? Yes, I will send you the materials and others and guiding you on the next course of action as we run through these next 2 weeks before the application opens on on April 1st. Hi, Bonnie Mark. If, for example, I am an engineer and yet I have an NGO that deals with women, especially teenage mothers and young pregnant teenage girls, can I still be eligible for these? Yes. Just demonstrate it in your write-up, what this cause you're trying to address, how you will address it, and how you want to empower him. But you're an engineer, Engineer Mariam, Diana. How do you use your engineering knowledge, engineering skills to empower the young girls getting pregnant, the teenage girls? If you can make it to that level of becoming an engineer, then they too can make it. So you can use that platform, your NGO, your CBO, to actually also enrich them with your motivation and what motivated you, how you navigated yourself throughout to becoming who you are. So this would be a great idea, and I look forward to reading through and seeing how that idea comes to life. Thank you. Great to hear. Thank you very much. And with that, I would like to bring this to a close because I do not see any other question coming up here. And let's keep in touch. For those intending for April application cycle, the boss is clicking, the time is clocking, and so you need to be closer. And as I said in my opening remarks, the future, you create it now. If you don't create it now, it is off your hook. And if it is off your hook, you have no impact. The impact you create now will be your joy for tomorrow. It will be a smile that you give out to others. It will be a joy that your community receives from you as an individual. Thank you very much and have yourself a wonderful weekend.